rocks out, and you got to shovel them back in.
Yeah. Just too cold.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, how do you know when you're a die-hard gardener? When you're trying to garden and it's too cold. That's me and Matt thought we would turn over the beds, but it's just too cold. The ground's froze and we're not having any luck.
The frost underneath.
Yeah, frost on the underside. And although you did get that one pretty good. At least that has to help. Our thought of turning them over is that we're trying to help kill off the bugs. So.
Wait till it gets a little warmer to do it though.
Yeah.
A hard freeze last night.
It was a hard freeze last night, very hard freeze.
Don't do much hoeing in January, usually.
No, not much of a need to hoe in January unless you're living in a warmer place than this. But look what we accomplished, Matt. That's 1%. If you follow the 1% rule, if you just do 1% every day, how much that would add up in an entire year.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now you've done your 1%. You wanna go in and get some hot chocolate? Sit by the stove?
Sounds good to me.
Since our gardening didn't pan out, I'm going to make me and Matt some hot chocolate, and we're going to go sit by the wood stove and warm up from our jaunt outside. A lot of you have asked, since we've been drinking hot chocolate, what's our favorite hot chocolate to drink. Some of the times that you've seen us drinking it, we used Postum, but it's like a Postum cocoa blend. But our favorite is the way Granny made it when I was growing up. So I've shared her recipe before in a video, but I'll share it again, and I believe it's the same one that's like on the back of the little Hershey's box maybe, or used to be on there anyway. So I'm going to be making more than one little cup if you were just making a cup for yourself. But what I'll do is I'll just show you the ingredients, and then I'll put the link to where you can go see the recipe, the original recipe. So I've got some cocoa. I'm going to put that. I've got my pan too hot too. I can already tell that. Put some sugar. And I'm going to put in some water, some warm water. And stir that up. I had my pan way too hot. I turned it on before I got all my ingredients together, just to help that part get stirred up together before I add the milk. And I'm going to add some milk. And you could certainly make it with all water, but I think with milk it just gives it such a richness. Woo, and I'm making a mess with the milk too. I poured half of it on the back of the stove. And then it's just a matter of stirring it up and letting it warm up. You can add marshmallows if you want to. Corey and Katie always liked to do that when they were kids. Maybe I'll add some for me and Matt. Maybe that would be good. What I do is I mix it up here, and then I take it down there and let it continue to heat on the stove while we're warming. So you could certainly, as I was saying, use water, but I think milk is so much better. It gives it such a richer, sweeter taste. I think that's good. And now I'm just going to let it finish warming on the wood stove. When we talked about Matt's favorite, or one of his favorite presents, the one that I got him anyway, the favorite present, last week, a lot of people wanted to actually see the little hatchet, so Matt's going to share it today and show some of the points that he really likes about it. What was the name of it again, Matt?
It is a Winkler Knives Hunter's Axe.
Hunter's Axe.
And it's pretty small, but it fits in a pack really easy. It's got a Kydex sheath that comes with it. But that's basically it. I don't know I ain't measured it or nothing, the length and width, but it's pretty small, you can tell, and it's got like a 2-inch bit at the most. But I think it's actually kind of marketed as like a, I don't know, like a little combat axe or something, but it works really good for really small stuff in the woods. It'd be good for opening up hip joints on a deer or whatever. I don't do that. I always use a knife, but a lot of people I know will use an axe or a big knife or something, chop them open. I just use a knife and cut the joints. But anyway, it's a really sharp little thing. I've already been cut on it, But it, for really small stuff like this piece of fat wood, it'll really get some little bitty curls if you want to get a fire started with. Really, really easy. Or it'll get some bigger ones if you want to do that. It's basically almost like a knife blade. It's just with a 90-degree handle on it. But it came really, really sharp, and I honed on it a little and made it even sharper. Let me actually split that just a little bit. We can get in there to where that real orange looking stuff is. That's the good stuff.
So it's handy for, I mean, you wouldn't want to chop big pieces of wood, but handy for chopping too.
Yeah, it's not gonna split fire or heater wood or big firewood, but real small stuff, you know. I mean, I've always, if I go in the woods any length of time, I've got either a bigger hatchet or a small, like a forest axe with me anyway, but this fits down. It'd fit in a pack or a haversack. It'd literally even fit in your back pocket. Or like I had it on the outside of that pack there, and you don't even know you've got it, and it's just an extra tool.
Makes quick work of that.
It does. It makes some little curls, and the spine on it's not really, really sharp on this top, but on the bottom side of this little curly part, it's fairly sharp. And you can literally use it to get like little bitty shavings of stuff to ignite. Those little bitty curls, and they'll light really, really easy. I mean, you can literally light that with a ferro rod if you wanted to, or a lighter, or whatever. And this fat wood is really, really rich. And I've got a whole bunch of this. I found this a couple of years ago in the woods, and it was the entire heart of a pine tree, and it was about 40 feet long, and I got about 20 feet of it and brought it home. And I've been using on it for quite a bit. And I've only used probably a couple of feet of that in the last 2 years.
It don't take much.
No, not when you get this quality of it. It's really, really good. It's the best I've ever found. And you can literally take like a ferro rod or something. Get the oxidation off of it. And literally light the fire with the hatchet. Just like that. So it's a handy little tool.
So that's just a few of the reasons why Matt's decided it's one of his favorite presents from this year anyway.
Yeah,
Thinks he'll use it for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the name of it?
It's a Winkler's Winkler's Knives Hunter's Axe LT is what it's called. And they got a website, and it's on their website. And they got other size axes, larger axes and stuff too, but this one just works so well because it's so small and so handy and easy to carry. And I've got plenty of other larger axes. I don't need any more of those, but this fits just a category that I didn't have, and it works really well, and I really like it.
I did good.
You did good.
It was just an accident, but I did good anyway.
Really good, yeah.
Sometimes accidents are good.
Mm-hmm. of those. It belongs to who?
And it doesn't matter. I put you some marshmallows in it. Is that
Joey.
special? Or do you like marshmallows? I should have asked.
Ain't my favorite, but I can eat them.
I thought you'd like it.
It is pretty good, though. Ain't it?
Especially after being out in the cold.
After trying to chop the froze ground.
Yeah. Well, at least we tried. Give it a good try. Just too cold. What is it? Too hot? Or too
No,
marshmallowy?
It's just weird to have lumps trying to get through your teeth. To me, that's just not my idea of fun.
Well, they're beginning to melt. If you wait a minute, maybe they'll melt.
Okay. When you get it up there, when you're trying to get the liquid through it, and all of a sudden you pull too much and you get burnt.
So marshmallows are a no-go for you, huh?
I mean, they're all right, but I can live without them.
Life's easier without them.
Life's easier without marshmallows. I always remember that. Or my life is, anyway. Remember them little marshmallows in the Lucky Charms?
Yeah, I never ate Lucky Charms.
What?
We didn't buy Lucky Charms. Granny didn't.
You never had them once?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
We ate Cheerios and Corn Flakes and Frosted Flakes.
Okay.
You was Lucky Charms.
Well, not particularly, but I did throughout the course of my growing up. I ran across them, and I figured most all other kids had too, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah. Was I missing out on them?
Well, they were pretty good back then. All the cereal is not any good anymore to me, but back then I thought it was pretty cool.
I like cereal.
It's not what I call food now, but
No,
I didn't know that when I was little, and I thought it was really cool. I like cereal.
Right. Yeah. Cereal was something I could always eat, like if I was sick or couldn't think of what I have a better appetite now than I've ever had, but when I was growing up I had a hard time eating. But if I couldn't think of what I wanted to eat, then I didn't want to eat, but I could always eat cereal. So if I couldn't find nothing else, I could eat a bowl of cereal. I used to like Cheerios when I was growing up. Granny would put bananas in our Cheerios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah. We have a friend that's joined us.
Yeah, I'm scared to death. I'm going to get attacked like that right there. That thing ain't all the way tame. I don't know if he'll bite you or not.
He's just tame to Katie.
Yeah, Katie's... I call him the basement puma, because you can pet him and he'll be nice one minute and he'll climb up your leg and with his ears laid back the next, and I just don't know about all that. But Katie likes him an awful lot, I guess.
Yeah.
I have to tolerate him.
She does.
My all-time favorite cereal of all time was Captain Crunch Berries. And it still is. If I eat this, I mean, I don't eat cereal much, but we bought a box a few months ago.
You wanted a box, yeah.
I saw them and thought, yeah, I ain't had none of those in 25 or 30 years. I got to have some of those. And I bought them, and I ate them, and they were really good, but they hurt me badly when I ate them. I don't know, what's some kind of indigestion or whatever. So I ate some more, and it done me that way again, and I was trying to conquer the box and then be forever done with it, and I got down to just about that much left, and it just wasn't worth it anymore, and I threw the rest away. But they did taste good. But it's the dye that's in those little berries or whatever it is probably what it was, and I just can't tolerate it no more.
Yeah.
And it's not food anyway, it's just puffed up air, as your daddy used to say. Didn't have no power in it, that's what he'd just say.
He didn't go in for cereal at all. Me and Paul liked it, and Steve probably did too, I can't remember, but me and Paul liked cereal, but we were picky eaters, so that was something again that we could always eat, but yeah, Daddy didn't. He would say there's no power in it.
Yeah.
No power in eating puffed up air.
Right.
Yeah. He wanted something that'd stick to your ribs.
I ain't never had any problem that I can ever recall with an appetite. I mean, I've always been hungry, but if it'll stand there, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still that way.
I'm better than I used to be.
You are.
But still don't. Sometimes just ain't hungry. I don't want to eat.
I'll eat just almost anything except radishes. I ain't eating them.
Yeah, Matt don't like radishes, and you don't like horseradish.
That's like eating a rag soaked in kerosene to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But I'm glad that you do.
Yeah, I do. I love them. It won't be long. We'll be planting some.
Yeah.
We will have to wait for the ground to thaw, though.
Yeah.
That's when you know you love gardening, when you're trying to do it when you can't.
It'll be a warm spell for long, and it'll thaw enough where we can turn it all over. That is good for it.
Yeah, especially if we're trying to get rid of the squash bugs.
Yeah.
Before we braved the cold, Matt was watching it, and then I got drug into watching it too, or got mesmerized by it. But an old video, probably from the 80s, was it?
Probably about 1980 or 81.
Yeah,
It was
early 80s. But it was, and we don't know where it was at, but it was people drag racing on the highway.
Yeah.
But it was like an event. There was lots of people watching, but it was all these awesome old cars. So that was what was dragging us in. It, not necessarily the racing as much as just seeing all the beautiful old cars. They were so nice. What was some of them?
There was some old Chevelles and some old, like a 69 Dodge Charger, 67, 68 Chevelles. 67 and 8 Camaros. There was a couple of 442 Cutlasses, and it's been so long so you don't see that anymore. So when you do see it, it kind of stops you if you like cars like I do, and it's something to appreciate anymore because you just don't see much of those anymore.
Yeah, it was even neat. I mean, watching the ones that was actually drag racing. It's funny because they were on a highway somewhere, and every once in a while they'd have to, somebody would be just coming down through there, and they'd be trying to weave their way in and out.
Yeah.
It looked like it was almost like in a park or something, like in a, made me think of the Parkway in North Carolina, that I'm familiar with, but of course it wasn't that, I don't think. But you'd see campers and stuff coming, so it's like there was more than one camper that went through, wasn't there? So I thought it was like somewhere back in the woods where people was vacationing or something.
Yeah, and they'd have to do their little drag races in between lines of
people
traffic.
Coming. Anyway, but it was so the people watching, and then those other cars going by. That was interesting too, because like Matt said, you just don't see cars like that anymore. Like some of the old Broncos and even some of the little cars sitting around.
Yeah, even the ones that people just drove there to watch in was old cars. That's just it just brings back all kinds of
memories.
Memories
nostalgia.
of because those old cars, all the old cars like that, they had a little personality. These new ones just don't have it. They all look the same.
Yeah.
And we've got them,
Oh yeah.
but they just ain't like the old stuff to me.
When I was growing up, Granny and Pap always had old cars like that, and I learned how to drive on what was that Impala? What year would that have been?
A white one?
Yeah.
It was about a 70 Impala.
And that's what I learned to drive on, and
it was a boat.
Yeah, it was a boat. But they always had they had a big Ford green LTD. I remember that. But they always had cars like that because they could buy them, and then they was paid for. They didn't have a car payment or anything.
Right.
But I was so embarrassed about them when I was growing up. Like I would get all my friends, their parents had like the small little compact cars, I had to take a call from Katie there, but anyway, as I was saying, I was just so embarrassed. All my friends, their families had like the newer cars, like compact. I don't even remember now what they had. They would be old now too, but I was just so embarrassed of Pap and Granny's cars, which now I look back and I'm like, they were so cool. Why was I embarrassed by them?
I can tell you a funny story about that. I don't know if she watches this or not, but I'm going to tell it anyway. My cousin, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Her daddy had the same car.
Like the Impala?
The exact same car, except it was a brown or a tan, and it had a white like vinyl top on it.
Like this one, the Pap's was white with a maroon top like that.
Well, she was the same way. She was embarrassed about the car, and that's what either him or her mother come and picked us up in at school every day. And if he found out that something embarrassed you, he'd just
lay into it.
He would. I don't recall. It's been so long ago. We was in grade school, and we had to stand outside the school, and the parent pickup line circled around, and you just have to stand there and wait till your car pulled up, and then the teacher would sort of kind of escort you to the car or tell you to come on or whatever. He did something as he pulled up. I don't know if he blew the horn or if he did something, and she was already embarrassed about the car. But she just took off running to the car and just kind of pushed the teacher aside and was just dove in. And when we got in, she said, "Go, go!" I just was angry, mad, and she was hunkered down, trying not to let anybody see her. But everybody already knew,
Yeah.
But that sticks out in my mind vividly.
Because you were probably like,
I didn't care.
You're so silly. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't.
Which I was silly too. I mean, she was, but I was too.
But I never will forget that. She dove in just head first, hollering, "Go, go." Because she was so embarrassed.
Reminds me, I didn't try to do that or anything, but I was just always kind of embarrassed. But one time I played basketball, and one time we were playing basketball. I had a ball game at the Rock Gym in Murphy. And at that time, Martins Creek School was so small, and Peachtree was small, so we would combine teams sometimes. I don't know if I don't think any of the elementary schools here do that today. Maybe they do, though. I don't know. But back then, that was fairly common. So I played with Peachtree, even though I went to Martins Creek. Anyway, we played at Murphy at the Rock Gym, and I can't remember why, but after it was over, maybe it was the last ball game or something, and we were going to go to McDonald's. That was going to be a treat, for everybody to get to go. And, of course, everybody was just going to meet there, and then we were going to eat together. And of course, because I was embarrassed, I didn't want nobody to ride with me, because I don't remember Granny being there, but Pap and two of the girls. One of them's no longer with us, bless her heart. But anyway, they said, "Yeah, we're going to ride with you. We're going to ride with you." And I was like, "No, that's okay. Go on." But they just basically made themselves ride with me. And I was embarrassed. Of course, they never said, they didn't care. It was me. It was all me. But I remember we were going up the hill there, Matt, like by the tennis courts, and going up towards the elementary school. We were just going to go straight through town to go to McDonald's. And I guess Pap was just, he wasn't pushing on the gas like he was in a race or nothing, but it's just those kind of cars, how they sounded. And I remember one of the girls was like, "Man, this car will run." So she actually thought it was really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but that's what I learned to drive on, was those kind of cars.
Yeah, I love them old cars.
And like Matt was saying, he liked cars. I think Daddy liked them all right, but my older brother Steve, really loved old cars like that. Still does, and Paul does too, both of them. So I was around it a lot. So Steve had a really nice Monte Carlo when I was in high school. It was really pretty. I don't know what model it was. I can't tell about none of that. What model would that one have been? Maybe I've got a picture. If I do, I'll put it in here. I don't know.
I never saw it, but I think
probably in the 70s.
I think it was
I thought it was
mid-70s.
I did think that one was really cool, though.
Was it maroon colored or wasn't it?
Like a rust color?
Yeah, I think
it was basically the same color of the one you do know about that Ben had, the newer one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Basically about that same color, except it had a vinyl top that was cream color.
Okay. Yeah, it was. I think that car was like a 75 Monte Carlo, something like that.
It was nice. I never drove it, but I got to ride in it sometimes. I thought it was cool. And then in later years, Pap and Granny had another Monte Carlo, and what model was it? My nephew Ben has it now because he thought it was so cool.
I think it was an 80.
80.
I think's what it is.
And I drove it a lot, and it was
drove it.
Yeah, it was a nice car.
It was.
I drove it one time. Pap was having heart trouble, and praise the Lord, it turned out to be nothing. He'd had heart surgery, like he had open heart surgery when he was 42, so I was like in about 5th grade, but this was a time he just started having trouble again, and they actually decided he was going to do a catheterization and all that. And I remember I think think it was Francis and Dallas Crowder. So Francis Cook and Dallas Crowder come over to our house. Dallas was our pastor at that time, and prayed that night. And I remember the night before we were going to go for the catheterization, and I remember Pap saying that he believed that their prayer healed him because of whatever pain he was having. Anyway, the story about the car is Granny was like, I can't drive. I can't, Jerry. Well, he wasn't feeling good enough to drive. Daddy could drive anywhere. He drove all over the eastern seaboard and out west and everywhere when he drove a truck. Anyway, but it was decided, I don't remember why, Steve must have been working or something, that he couldn't go, that I had to go and I had to drive. So I drove that car to Atlanta. And back then I was inexperienced, and not that I like to drive in a place like Atlanta now, but I remember Daddy he sat up there with me and directed me. Go here, do this, go faster, you're going to get run over.
The old thing about them old cars, they'd fly.
Oh, yeah.
You just buy them off the showroom, and they were stout.
Yeah.
There's some stuff
and
nowadays,
all that room, oh my goodness, all that room. You could lay down. I remember when we'd be sick and Mama would take us to the doctor in those old cars. You could literally, we'd just get a blanket, and if you were, might throw up, you'd get a bucket with you, but just lay down in the whole back seat. You just stretch out,
Skin a calf in the back seat of one
Yeah,
minute.
I know. Anyway.
I like them old cars. I always wanted one. I mean, I drove what I drove as I was coming up, the older, to me, type stuff, but I always wanted to buy an older, mid-late 60s car and kind of fix it up and tool around in it, but it's not going to happen.
No. What was the one that y'all had when I first met you, when we were dating, that was orange color?
It was a 77 Oldsmobile Cutlass. I like that old car. Awful well. I'd like to have another just like it.
Yeah. I remember it.
Daddy give it away. So I was at work, and it was my car. I got it from him somehow. I come home from work one day, and my truck and the car's gone. I said, where's my car? And he said, I give it to my brother. I said, thank you.
Thank you. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I'd love to have that back.
We'll link to that video if you'd like to go back and see some of the old cars and just see the Matt's like today. It would take 5 minutes and everybody there would be arrested.
There'd be helicopters hovering above it and SWAT teams.
Just a different time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's neat about it is the time. I mean, the atmosphere's different, and the people had the old clothes and the long hair from then, and it's just not like that now. Katie
was watching it with us, and one girl walked by, and Matt's like, look, that looks like what your mama used to look like.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Used to. Those Mama had brothers that left here, Granny did, and went up north, and a sister too. But a lot of her older siblings, they went up north to work, and they never come back home. But one of them, Uncle Junior, worked in the car factories, and so when Pap, in those days, that's where a lot of those cars come from. He would go up there and come back with a car. I don't exactly know how all that worked. I mean, he'd go up there to buy them. I guess maybe there was a better selection, or maybe, I don't know, if Junior helped him get a deal or something. They weren't new cars. They were used cars too, but it was always exciting, though, when he did bring one back.
Yeah. I like to have an old vehicle of some sort just because.
Well, we do. We have the 4Runner. How old is it?
Well, it ain't that old.
It's 23 years old.
Yeah,
it's pretty old.
That's not what I call
24 years old. Do you want to go all the way back to the 70s?
I want to go back 50 years at least.
What model's Katie's truck?
86. And it's fine. It's nice, and I like it, but I mean, I want to go back older than that. Mm. And I used to do a lot of that on my own stuff and learned, and
Oh, you still have to. You changed Corey's alternator yesterday.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't want to and have that drive to do that anymore. I'd like to have one of those old vehicles, but not really enough to
get one and do the work on it. And all that.
I ain't got time to do it anyway.
What model is Paul's Camaro?
69.
Paul has a nice 69 Camaro.
He does. And it's completely restored. But he bought it not restored and needed a lot of work, and he spent years working on it.
Yeah, it took a long time.
It's nice. Turned out to be a very nice car, yeah.
Yeah, very nice. And when he was as a principal at Martins Creek, and I can't remember, he probably did it at Ranger too, but I can't remember when he was principal there, but like one of the fundraisers they'd have every year was a car show. He likes them too. Likes what is that y'all like to watch? The auction.
Yeah, the Barrett Jackson auction. I enjoy watching that just to see the old. A lot of that stuff's I don't like, but the old original. The old muscle cars that have not been chopped up and redone, just put back to the original condition. Those are something neat to watch. I like to see those. I don't care anything about the resto mods and all that stuff. I like to see them put back just like they came off the factory line.
Those cars were so substantial when you drove.
Yeah.
That's what I love my car. I like it. I don't never plan to get another one. Matt tells me it's not going to last me the rest of my life, but I hope it does. But I like it fine. I mean, it's one of the best cars I've ever had. But the 4Runner, which is the car I drove for so long when Corey and Katie were little, I get in it today and it just feels. So it's just, even my car's, much newer and all that, but it just is so much sturdier. I just feel like I'm sturdy in the road, if that makes sense.
Well, they were built different. Everything about them's different. That 4Runner actually has an independent frame under it, as opposed to yours is like a unibody, and there's no frame under it. It's all body, and that's a completely different feel, and I don't like them. But that's just that's what they make now.
Right, yeah. Yeah, the 4Runner has such a better feeling when you're driving it.
And the best part about the old ones, you go back 40, 50 years, I mean, if you have any mechanical inclination at all, you can work on anything on it. Anything. And that's what I like the best about it, because it's something that you're not dependent on somebody else or dependent on somebody plugging their computer in it to tell you what's wrong with it, because there ain't no place to plug it on them.
Yeah, right.
And it's just you got to diagnose it your own self, and you can fix it your own self, and that's worth a whole lot to me.
Yeah, I'm lucky. Matt's good at fixing things like that, and Daddy was too. The other day, was talking to a friend and talking about this gentleman, and then I started suspecting. I thought, I know who that is. It's one of my first cars I had. I bet that he owned it. I thought, anyway, and we figured out that it was the same person we was talking about. But the man said he remembered that car too that I was talking about. It was like a little Ford EXP. That's when I met Matt. That's what I had. Anyway, when I first got it, I loved it. Because it was kind of sporty and all that, and I just thought I was so cool in it, I mean, I made payments on it and everything. I paid for it myself, but it got to where every night when I was like coming home from work or something, the lights would just go out, and they might come back on, then they go back out, and they go. So of course Pap tried, and he tried several, tried to trace it out, and tried this and that, and he could always fix anything, and he did fix that, but he finally gave up trying to trace out the whole wiring and fixed it. How you explain it, Matt?
He just run a whole new circuit of wires from the battery to the headlights, and then ran another wire inside the cabin of the car, and put a house light switch on
so
it.
that was the funny part.
Mounted to the dash, and you could just flip the lights on and off.
It was down low, but it was just you couldn't really notice it, unless you knew it was there. But it was a house, like a light switch in your house, and you just turned it on, and that way the lights could not go off. They were just straight.
Right. Yeah.
And because he was, of course, worried about me driving home at night if they went off and I went off the road or whatever. But he fixed that.
That works well. I actually did I have a table saw over here done the same way. The little on-off, it's got some kind of safety junk on it, I can't remember what it was, but it didn't last.
Once that tears up, then it won't work.
Yeah, and it's 2 or 3 months, it was gone. It wouldn't work. So I pulled the switch out of it and dug around in my stuff over there and found a light switch and put it on there, and it's been on that thing for 20 years. And I can pull it out right now, plug it in, flip it on, and run. So it works great. On and off. And nothing else works really good.
Right. Yeah, it was like that the whole time till I ended up trading the car. And then that man that owned it, he got it back. And for a long time, you could see it sitting at his house on the side of the road. I think he's passed away now, but I always wondered what he thought about that light switch.
Probably not much.
Well, he knew Daddy really well, so he's probably like that Jerry Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I went through this spell of locking my keys in my car, forgetting, until I finally got too afraid to even call Daddy and tell him that I'd locked him in there. And I remember one time somehow I got a key from that man, one of my desperation attempts to try to not tell Daddy that I'd done it again. Anyway, it was terrible. I went through a spell of that.
Yeah.
Today's cars, though, I guess that's one plus. Most of the time they won't let you lock the keys in it. If it's pretty, I mean, I think mine still would, but like your truck wouldn't, would it?
Mine, I don't know. It just locks the doors on its own. So, and I only have, and it's works off of a fob. And I hate that so bad. I mean, I can't explain to you how bad. I want to take a sledgehammer to that thing. Is how mad that makes me, because they just lock on its own, or I've got the fob in my pocket and I'm in the house and I bend over and the alarm goes off. And there just ain't no need in all that, you know?
Yeah.
That just makes me angry. And at that point is when, you know, for 4 or 5 seconds, I could literally run out the door with a sledgehammer and beat that thing into submission. Seriously.
Yeah, I know. You get
That's why I want one of those older vehicles.
Your Yosemite Sam comes out.
If I want them doors locked, I can go out yonder and open it and push a button and
Yeah,
lock
I know.
it. That's what I want.
When we first got the 4Runner many years ago, and I had never had a car that had a fob like that, where you could unlock and lock and all that. But I remember like once or twice when I've dropped Corey and Katie's off for school, somehow I set the alarm off. Oh my gosh, I thought I would die of embarrassment.
And you didn't know how to.
Couldn't get it to go off.
Yeah.
And then we had, before the car I have now, I had this crazy car. It was a Nissan. It wasn't new either. But when Corey and Katie went to college, we were going to give them the 4Runners. They commuted, so they had something to drive back and forth. So I had to have a new car. Well, it was a used car, but anyway, it was a terrible, terrible car.
Yeah,
it wasn't just, the lights didn't just go off on it when you was going down the road. It would just stop.
Yeah, the whole car would die.
Just die on you. And nobody could ever figure out what was wrong with it. But anyway, one time I was actually at a conference over at Stokoa, the CIOPA, like Southern Riders Organization, and it was during the night, and Katie was with me, and I just parked right outside the little, it's like a hotel room, but more like a little lodge room I was staying in, cabin or whatever it was. And it went off, and it scared us to death, of course, because it's the middle of the night and you don't know where you're at. But then I had to figure out, was that my car doing that? And it was. And then I'm dying of embarrassment, thinking I'm waking up everyone in this whole place. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I finally went outside and unlocked all the doors. I was like, I'm just going to have to leave a car door open or something to keep it from doing that. I didn't lock it. I mean, I just left it unlocked the rest of the time. That car was terrible, though.
Yeah.
I was glad to be rid of it. It was a real, what do they call them, lemons.
It was.
It had so many things wrong with it. But anyway, that was one of them. It would spontaneously, the alarm would just start going off, and I would always just be so embarrassed.
I like a vehicle of course I like power brakes.
Yeah.
But I don't want power windows. I don't want power locks. I don't want a thing to push buttons to make it do. And my truck's even a push button start. And I hate that so bad. I mean, I just do. I don't know why I bought it, but I did, and it's my fault. But I mean, it's a good truck.
Oh, yeah, it's been a good truck.
That's
Yeah.
just not my thing. I like manual everything. And I also like a cloth seat, and I like a rubber mat floor. So if I get some kind of mess in there, you know,
You just spray it out.
just hose it out.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'm different than most people, I guess.
Yeah. You can get those. Corey got them for her car, really nice, with a lip on them, like floor mat things.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
should get them for ours, but we never have.
should.
Yeah.
Sounds like your daughter has just arrived. She just landed.
Yeah, sounds that way. Anyway, a trip down memory lane for the cars, but we'll leave the link to that in case you want to watch it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool little video. I just accidentally thumbing through YouTube and found it and turned it on, and then everybody got to watching it.
That is one thing. Lots of different things good about YouTube. We hope that you think we're one of the good things, but
Yeah.
of course, being able to learn stuff, and interesting, following people, whether they're gardening or making a cake or making jewelry like Katie or something, learn and be entertained. But I love the nostalgic things like that too.
I do too.
Being able to look back into and you're like, I remember those days. I remember when everybody drove cars like that. And, well, everybody didn't drive those muscle cars, but
You're right.
they might have been driving them, but they were all ratted out and, you know, they wasn't fancied up.
Well, you could just go buy just a plain old car off the lot that a housewife would drive, and the thing would have 400 horsepower.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just, I mean, that's just great.
We like to watch. We don't watch much TV. We watch. Matt watches a lot of YouTube. I like to read a lot, but when we do watch it, we like to watch like Matlock, some of those older shows, and that's a good. You can see the old cars, you know, and the dress, how people dressed, and all that.
And you can also see the. It's hard to explain. Just the way the people. I mean, I know it's TV and it's acting and all, but just the atmosphere and the people and the way they...
It's different.
The way they communicate and talk back and forth, it's just different. And
takes you back to that time,
and I like that. And that's why we watch all that old stuff instead of this new garbage.
Yeah, which we really like to go way back and watch the Westerns.
Oh, yeah.
Which neither one of us lived in those days, of course. We were just a wannabe cowboy when I met Matt.
Yeah.
Had his horses and...
Had to give up my horses for a woman.
Yeah, you did, really. That's the truth. That's the truth. You had to trade your horses for a woman.
So I'm pretty committed.
You are. Yeah. You are. You do good. Thankful to have you.
It wasn't just any horse either. That was a special horse.
I know. She was a special horse.
But anyway, it's a good trade.
Well, thanks. It'd probably be too late for you to find her at this point.
I'm pretty sure she's been dead for many years.
Probably
she
so.
was 18, 20 years old then.
Yeah.
Or, 16, 18 years old anyway. And we've been married, what?
Almost 30. Is this our 30? Is this our 30th year?
Yeah.
Have a big anniversary. Maybe we'll actually remember it.
So if she's still around, she'd be about 50.
Yeah.
So I doubt it.
To be an old horse.
Yeah.
Well, we're always glad when you stop by to visit with us as we talk about our life here in the Appalachian Mountains. I reckon Katie, I guess he's going to take her back and then she's going to come back again.
Yeah. Did they leave again?
Well, it's awful quiet out there. They must have. Was that her truck?
Yeah, and then I heard another
Car.
vehicle come up, so I just didn't know if they left or not.
We won't be able to look at her truck till she gets here. She'll be mad if we investigate it without her. Huh?
We ought to go there and get in and go to town.
Probably meet her coming back.
Yeah.
Meet her. Yeah. She'll be all excited. She'll be wanting to show every detail of it.
She's done a lot of work on it and done very well of getting it all lined up and getting it fixed. So
she has. She's determined.
She should be proud of it because it turned out very nice.
Both of your children are very determined. Have you noticed that?
I'm just a wee bit jealous of that thing because it's nice. I'm not jealous. I'm glad she's got it. Although I would like to have one like it.
If she sells it, she better sell it to you.
But she won't sell it.
I don't think so.
But I couldn't buy it and it'd be mine. If she ended up having to sell it, I would buy it and give it back to her.
Oh no.
Because she likes it so much.
It's a pretty cool truck.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you just don't really think about those old cars, which is not like we would have. I mean, we didn't have no money anyway, but then it's just like anything else. If you could go back, you're like, I'd just buy them and put them up.
So, and my daddy told me the same thing when I was young.
Yeah, he thought the same thing
Same
about
thing
the
about
ones
the
when
cars, right.
when he was young, yeah.
But we were at the point, I've thought about this. We were at the point where the vehicles had changed so much, I thought at that time, which is the time period of her truck, that there just ain't no way people would be wanting these.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Well, you see what they cost, if you can get them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now I'm thinking the same thing again. There's just no possible way that somebody would want what we're driving now and be a... So should we be buying them, putting them up now?
Yeah, I don't know.
I just can't see. I can't see
no.
it, but I didn't see it for those either.
Right.
My gosh, I know I had 7 of those trucks,
Now you wish you just had one.
and I tore every one of them except one absolutely all to pieces.
Yeah.
The only one I didn't is the one I sold Brian.
Yeah,
You know.
that was a nice one.
It was. Well, it was okay. It had a...
It wasn't as nice as Katie's, I don't think.
No, not even close. No, it was not. It wasn't near as good in mechanical shape as Katie's.
Yeah, but even now, even the ones, like you're saying, it's hard to believe, but even the ones like that you've had since we were married, I mean, wouldn't you like to have some of them back?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, compared to...
I'd like to have that blazer back.
Well, yeah, that, but I mean, like, you know, that white one you had and the...
No, I wouldn't want it back.
What about the big silver gold one?
Yes, I'd like to have it back.
Yeah.
One you made me sell.
I didn't make you sell it.
You stayed on me till it was going to be easier for me to sell it than to live with you with it.
No, I don't think so. I've never tried to direct you to sell stuff.
No, I like that truck.
I've never. That's a false statement. Never tried to direct you to sell stuff.
Well, I regress, I'm sorry.
I liked your little Toyota that Papa has.
Gosh, yeah.
That was a nice little truck.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of as basic a one as you get, and we bought it. It wasn't exactly brand new. It had 1,400 miles on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same as new.
Yeah.
And it was the only one they had that was, just like I said earlier, the manual windows, manual locks, rubber floor, 5-speed, plain Jane.
It was nice.
Cloth seats, and that's what I like. And you just about can't find I mean, if you wanted to buy a new vehicle, that's difficult to find.
Yeah, I know.
When you could buy what they consider a work, you know, work line of truck, what they sell for work trucks, and get that.
Yeah.
But
it was a nice one though.
Yeah, it was, and he still got it.
Yeah, I know.
I thought about trying to talk him out of it. I literally sold it to send them girls to college.
I know.
And it paid for
most of it.
It paid for 1 year's tuition for each of them, so it was well worth it.
Yeah. And maybe he'll sell it back to you. Does he work out of it or the 4Runner?
No, he works out of it. Yep. And it's got a lot of miles on it now. It's got like 170,000 miles on it, and it's a good truck.
Yeah, but only had 2 owners. But well, whoever drove it 1,400 miles.
I don't think they'd ever sold it. I think it was like a demo from the lot.
Okay.
One of these days I'll get me another old one of some sort. I want one that I don't have to fix up is what I'd like to have, because I don't want to do that.
You want one of those off Barrett?
No, it's really weird what I want.
You want one that you found that some grandpa had, and he's had it in his garage, and he just never done
and it's
nothing
used,
with it.
but it's not
Right,
abused,
right.
and you know, something I can get in, not have to worry about scratching. But it's
Yeah.
that old, and it's not
But
been
still in good
mistreated,
shape, yeah.
and that's almost impossible.
Yeah,
That's what I'd like to have.
yeah.
Something I can just get in and immediately lock and don't have to do anything to.
When we come back yesterday, was that just yesterday that I took Granny to the doctor? Day before yesterday. And we were coming back at the red light there, after you leave Blue Ridge, before you turn to go to Mineral Bluff, coming back home, and we're sitting there, you know, cars going through that red light. There's this truck went through that was the same colors of the Blazer. Those kind of blues and the gray, all that. Remember those? There was trucks and Blazers and everything back then. Anyway, so it was about that era, I guess, and there was like a grandpa driving it.
Yeah.
He was just going straight through, but it was, I mean, I bet that was his truck he's had since then.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it
There
was.
was some rust though around the wheel wells, but you could see. But I could see him. I thought you drove that truck for 40 years, probably.
If you don't mistreat them like I did, you can drive them that long. But I was hard on
Yeah.
them.
See, that's why maybe, I don't know, the new stuff don't last as long. I can drive mine the rest of my life.
I'm certain if I drove the truck I have now the way I drove those other trucks, that it would
Oh,
break
in a week.
in two.
What's that crazy guy you was watching the other day that tries to break stuff?
Oh yeah, I
You
don't
do
know.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's ignorance. He's got plenty of money apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. You done?
I'm done.